The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Game report on Earnestly Podcast. Again, second podcast of the day coming to you, as always, December 5th, 2023. The man, Kyle F. Nash, here with us, as he is every Tuesday on the show. Kyle,
welcome in.
What time to go? You had the game last night, the Jaguars game. What time did you go home last night?
That would be 4 a.m.
God darn, dude.
I'm still wearing the clothes from last night, Ernest Christian. It's very uncomfortable.
You had time to go take a bath and take a shower before you got on the show.
No, I really didn't. You weren't aware of what's going on at my house.
Oh, wait, we're still doing. Wait, we're in the van now. It's a security van now in your house.
We're
not in the studio.
No, I'm not in the studio. I am at the alternate location. Yes, unfortunately, your rage driving about the CFP committee rankings and how they turned out blew my hat out the window. So there was no hat here today. And, listen, you're the one that complains all the time about having kids on the show, and I'm not going to reduce myself to that yet.
Keyword yet. Anyway, we got a lot of NFL things to talk about here, but let's get to the college football playoff. This is something that you and I have been going back and forth about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then after this, the committee came with the rankings on Sunday. We went
same month, CJ. Let's call that ish right. I mean,
yeah. As it is right here, you guys know. If you guys don't know, obviously don't know rock.
You better ask somebody.
This is the story of the week here. Obviously, you have your Final Four: 1 Michigan, 2 Washington, 3 Texas, 4 Alabama. Before we get to the obvious stuff, is there anything below? Let's say 8 to 25 that stood out to you?
Tennessee should not be ranked. Clemson should not be above Liberty and SMU. Absolute travesties in both their own right. LSU still should not be ranked above Notre Dame. Louisville down to 15 is not bad enough, and I think we've seen even proof of that, haven't we, EJ Christian? Why Iowa's a top 20 team, I have no idea. What did NC State do to get invited to this party? And really, I've mentioned, 1, 2, 3 of the 4 teams that are going to be in Orlando Bowls. You want to know why these bowl games in here in Orlando are so bad this year? Mm-hmm. It's because overrated ass teams are picked for the 4 slots. Hopefully, Orlando Citrus Sports hasn't heard me say that, so they'll disallow me from attending the bowl game when I cover them for the 3-point conversion. Bing! But nonetheless, just complete travesties. And also the house of cards upon which is built the eventual disappointment for a particular team. By the way, Penn State, also not a top 10 team.
Yeah, I would put Ole Miss number 10 over Penn State, if anything.
I love Mizzou at 9. I think that's perfect. Ohio State at 8 is the correct answer, not at 7, but West Coast bias.
Yeah, you know why that is 7 and 8, because
they're going to say 2 losses. But here's the thing. This is just as bad as the LeBron James has been to so many finals and lost to Michael Jordan. You want to know why that is, kids? It's because Michael Jordan was busy getting eliminated in the first effing round. No one wants to talk about that, and it's the same trash here. You want to know why Ohio State doesn't have 2 losses? They didn't get a chance to get beat again by Michigan. Holla at your boy.
Don't get these Jordan fans big mad, because they will get big mad on that argument.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm a Jordan is the GOAT guy. I put him ahead of LeBron personally, but a shitty argument is a shitty argument, EJ Christian. Facts of the case are those, and they should not be in dispute. Yet bad arguments are going to be brought up all the time that should not be in dispute, that they're bad arguments, but we're on the Earnestly Speaking podcast. That's expected. How you doing, buddy?
Dickhead. All right, so let's get to it. We ran down the rankings. Michigan, Washington unbeaten. Texas, Alabama. Florida State misses out. They were unbeaten. Georgia, the shock, of course, of the weekend. They did not get in. Lost to Alabama in the SEC title game. You obviously agree with these rankings, right? These 4 teams, right?
Well, what makes it so obvious?
To the science, I'm saying.
Understand something, buddy. Like, I spent how many months dogging this committee?
Yeah.
And
years, not months, years.
No. Well, let pump the brakes. That's a different.
It's a thing, Kyle. It's a thing on the show with us now. This committee.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Yes, I've been dogging the committee. What I mean by I've been dogging the committee for months this year as the worst effort so far in building these rankings. Mm-hmm. The only reason why the FSU public was raised so high to get to a level of entitlement was because the way over ranking of Louisville, and by extension, the fact that Notre Dame at the time was as high as they were when they shouldn't have been, and then the ascension somehow through the mound of excrement that was their year-end schedule, Clemson making the top 25. These committee mistakes, and don't get me started on NC State too already. I don't even know what to make of that. But the punchline is, sir, that extra, that hyper, that over-respect, that hyperbole of respect that those ACC teams got is why FSU was giving this false entitlement of thinking they should be in the top 4.
Well, that and the fact they're 13-0.
No, you beat up a bunch of 8th graders. You should not be rewarded. The committee got it right. And the thing is, the Jordan Travis injury gave them something to hide behind.
Yeah. Exactly. Let me ask a question. Jordan Travis is healthy. They get in?
No.
So at least you're consistent with that one. I disagree with you 100% on that one. But
you can disagree with me all you want, but here's stuff you don't know about and something you may not have considered that kind of hit me while I was on the road to Jacksonville with my good friend Captain Chris Hill of A7BN Sports and the Aquarius Broadcast Network while I was covering the game for the Jaguar Report, bing, as well as for the 3-point conversion, bing, you'll find those press conferences and interviews hopefully on the 3-point conversion YouTube channel if my good friend Raphael Haynes had an opportunity to post them while he's on vacation in Mexico. But it's this. And you being a Noler, yet somehow a Noler that thinks using the rock to make your point about the Seminoles makes sense, but sure, whatever.
I said what I said.
That doesn't make you right. But anyways, what did they do the past a number of months ago, EJ Christian?
Florida State?
I mean, Florida bleeping State. Yes, I said Noler. I know it's hard for you to keep track of all your teams. That's why I mentioned one specifically.
No, what are you getting at? Because the only thing I think of, the only thing I would say that probably would give cause to pause. And granted, every team in here has wins that look skeptical, like barely beating Boston College.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay, so
that's not what I asked you.
So I guess I don't know what you're getting at. So you have to.
A number of months ago, in very loud fashion. One could argue if you live in Orlando, the news was skewed to say it was meant to be a big FU to UCF, but I digress. Florida State, in trustee meetings, in going out to get big money from banks to try to buy out of the ACC contract, declared out loud and in public and on the record that they're too good for the ACC. And who knows, with Mike Norvell as the coach, they might be right.
13-0.
But in the word, no, that has nothing to do with anything.
I'm just saying it's my opinion personally.
Okay, in your opinion, well, actually, you know what? I'll give you this much credit. The 13-0, I misspoke. I didn't think that through before you said it. The 13-0 proves that the possibility that they're too good for that conference does exist. Although that whatever that was they put out against Louisville, where the only reason why they didn't beat Louisville is that bad and overrated in the conference championship game. Nobody was impressed by that, nor should anybody be impressed by that. But I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little later in this conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm trying to tell you, Ernest Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You know the comedian Cat Williams, right?
Of course. Top 5 for me.
You can't go to the club. Well, I'm on your show. I can curse. You can't go to the club and say, fuck everybody in the club and expect not anybody to be waiting at your car. And the ADs, the active athletic directors that are on this committee, were in the club and were waiting for FSU in the car. You could talk about it being a business and tying in ESPN, and I'm not going to sit here and act like ESPN and the powers that be in the media aren't made better by Alabama being in the top 4 for numerous reasons. A, it's superior football. Deal with it. B, who the hell wants to watch a second-string quarterback get swallowed by the front of Michigan, who now has their head coach back on the sideline? Nobody wanted to watch that game unless you were a Michigan fan or you like watching car accidents.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay? This was pettiness that led to this. Forget about the fact that I'm completely correct. And your school agrees with me, EJ Christian, that the ACC is trash.
Yeah.
They would not have made it anyway, and it's because of the politics of the situation.
Oh, so what we're confirming here now, especially too, and I said this yesterday too on text, and you, I guess, sort of agree with me on this one, is that college football right now is closer to WWE than NFL.
I don't have enough context to actually answer that question, to be honest. I don't know what you mean by that.
In other words, it doesn't matter what you do on the field. And granted, I understand. And here's the thing.
It absolutely matters what you do on the field.
Well, right.
You'll acknowledge that Washington passed FSU, and it's because of Jordan Travis. Not true.
No, that's not true.
It was because they beat a ranked Oregon State team.
Right. I mean, we said this weeks ago before Travis got hurt. We said that I was saying Florida State was the top 4 team, even when Travis was healthy. But again, we're sitting there saying the games matter, but this team goes 13-0. To me, this is the thing. I think people don't understand what my point here is. This, I agree that, well, mostly agree the best teams are in here, because I still argue Georgia's top 4 team in college football still right now.
Separate conversation, but
right.
continue. By the way, you just shot yourself in the foot about the games not mattering if you just made that statement, but continue.
No, Georgia. If you're talking about best teams and what's better for the product and all that stuff, have at it. These are the 4 teams, I guess. Or maybe Georgia's only in there for whatever. That's fine. But again, just don't tell me the games matter anymore, because between politics and your record, to me, this is the one thing I push back on is there. Let's say most of these teams, like in most of these years, we've had this 10-year situation with this playoff. Most of the time, these teams have one loss. Maybe 1 or 2 teams. Have at it. Florida State be number 9. I'm okay with that. But the fact that Florida State went undefeated is the anomaly here. That's where I push back on.
You mean just like Michigan and Washington? It's
correct.
Not them going undefeated. It's everybody going undefeated, which, by the way, the whole reason why the BSC was supplanted, you say I have the initials wrong. I said what I said. Bumpy. All right?
Right.
The BSC was supplanted to keep a team from hiding behind a weak schedule and getting an opportunity to win a national championship because of it. By the way, one of the committers of the crime in question being Bobby Bowden and those Florida State Seminoles. But nobody wants to talk about that. It got real quiet in here.
Florida State preseason was stacked with SEC teams. Okay? No one thought LSU would be as bad this year. When they beat LSU, they're number 5 in the country.
Okay, I know you're frustrated, but tone down the Gilmore Girls. I can barely understand what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is that when they beat LSU week 1 this year,
yes,
when the season started, LSU was number 5. I mean, no one could possibly thought LSU would have been, well, I say bad. 13 is not terrible, but no one possibly thought LSU would be in
LSU
the mid-teens.
was a top 10 team candidate. That's what you're meaning to say.
Right.
With Jaden Daniels as a Heisman Trophy candidate,
and
a defense that was supposed to be a lot more difficult than they were. And then the second half of the Orlando Kickoff Classic, a half into which the Seminoles were behind, completely decimated LSU.
Right.
No one expected that. FSU was then at that point either 3 or 4 in the AP, depending on who you spoke to. And yeah, that's a real thing.
I mean, Clemson being worse than they were this year. Now, in fact, they're ranked right now. 22 is actually kind of shocking, in my opinion. You don't think it should be shocked? Should be ranked in the first place, right? Clemson
should not be in the top 25.
Right,
yes.
right. I know. I think, to me, like, we agree, and you and I have said this for years, the ACC is the weakest of the 5 conference. Well, 4th or 5th weakest conference in the Power 5. Who
would possibly be weaker in the Power 5 at this point?
I mean, you consider the Big 12, but this year maybe not. I'm just saying most years ACC is right between 4 and 5, depending how you.
I'll allow you to make an argument for the Big 12, but the problem is with the Big 12, so many teams had quarterback injuries throughout the year. It's insane.
Right, but that my thing is, then why are we considering ACC a Power 5 conference then? If we all acknowledge ACC sucks and has sucked for a long time, and the committee knows this shit, why are we then even acknowledging ACC now as a Power 5 conference, knowing that no matter what Florida State does, and they ran the fucking table, they still would not get considered top 4?
Well, the only reason the ACC is actually still together, to answer your question, is an ironclad contract selected or connected to TV and media. And that's the part you're failing to acknowledge. Mm-hmm. The ACC has been rendered inferior. The legality of it all just hasn't panned out yet, like it did for the Big East, like it did most recently for the Pac-12, like it has, one could argue, for the Big 12 when they lost Texas and Oklahoma, but have found a way to survive in the form of the other conferences that are now, the Pac-12. I could call the Pac-12 dead, right? That are either dead and or dying as the ACC is. You don't have to like the answer that the reason the ACC is still alive is lawyers and contracts, but yeah, that is the life support of the proverbial vegetable that is the ACC.
Yeah, and 100%. we discussed it. We discussed it too. Also, the ACC is on life support at this point. I mean, they've got more teams last year or two, but we expect this team conference to not hold up for another 3 to 4 years.
Right. So I think your question's been answered. The problem is the landscape of college football in itself, with the conferences and things like that, were so due for a reboot. That's why you've had the recent cataclysm of the Pac-12 disappearing, the Big 12 expanding as big as it has, the re-signing and retooling of the – don't get your hopes up. That's not the kind of retooling I meant, EJ. And the retooling of the Big 10 as well as the SEC itself, with arguably, depending on who you talk to, more expansion to come. Smaller conferences, because they may not necessarily be able to bring in the biggest football schools, are now looking at big basketball schools to find other opportunities for revenue and growth. Gonzaga, for example, has been talks with the Big 12 for literal months. Nothing's actually occurred of it yet, but it's on the table. And we both know Gonzaga is not a football power.
No, basketball, yes. Basketball, definitely yes.
But if you're the Big 12 and you're the dominant basketball power and you want to keep it that way, so you keep getting that cash that's connected with the March Madness.
So essentially what you're saying here is the committee actually got a break here, because
the committee, I'm a billion. I thought I already did say
it. Because
behind Jordan Travis.
Because you said that even with Jordan Travis, they still have these same 4 teams.
Yes.
And because of pettiness.
Pettiness in the ACC sucks, yes.
Well, yeah. Pettiness, politics, bullshit. And again, this is why, it sucks. Why play the games? Now, that being said,
I'm going to stop you right there. You keep saying, why play the games? If why play the games is your answer, why is Georgia still out? If why play the games is your answer, why is Alabama ranked below Texas? If why play the games is your answer, why is Notre Dame ranked higher than Louisville as an actual better team who just had an unfortunate outing, in my opinion? Same for Ohio State can be said. If the games don't matter, none of this pans out this way. We just have an SEC playoff all the time.
Does a 12-team playoff solve this problem? Or you think it's only
yes and no? Yes and no. It does reduce
at the top anyway.
Veracity right? Because at the end of the day, if you start getting below 8, there would be a do better. Like if Mizzou started calling, bloody murder because a 2-loss team is ahead of them in the standings in Oregon, my response would be, go watch the film. You can't nix Bo, homie. Not happening, right?
No,
I don't think anybody here believes that would happen.
Right. I think it also protects the top teams. Like this hypothetically right now, this year was a 12-team playoff. Like no matter what.
Would you let me add this too? Would you be wounded personally if Oklahoma was left out to let in Liberty? Not me.
Well, the defense on the Liberty keeping out is that the one defense, again, back to the Power 5 argument, they're not a Power 5 school.
It's the group of 5 is supposed to be required a spot, allegedly, in the upcoming model.
Then don't even rank these teams then. If they're not a Power 5 school, why we even bother ranking these teams? Like I said, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of fucking paper.
It's the rules under the current TV contracts such as they are. I don't mind you posing the question. Just know it's not really going to be answered. Or not to your satisfaction, because it's tied to the contract for the TV of this current. We keep calling it a playoff. As somebody who covered UCF in 17 and 18, I think that fan base did the best job of coining what it actually is. It's the damn college football invitational.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, if you as an FSU fan is going to come my way after having to watch UCF's fan base cry just as hard as you, I'm in.
I made the case of UCF getting in also too back then. So listen to me. I'm. Go ahead. You were saying?
You can just call me Steve Perry of Journey. I'm going to keep wonder who's crying now.
I'm crying. Don't give a fuck. I'm crying. I will cry.
I'll be crying all season long. 21-40. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I get that on record.
Yes, dude. I'm gonna own that. I don't care. I'm pissed off. And UCF got screwed themselves too, also, for the record.
Well, I mean, that's why they had to resort to the Callie Matrix.
And
NCAA sanctioned body to give them a championship.
And brother,
they didn't declare shit. The NCAA did it for them.
And brother, I'm less mad about Alabama getting in personally. I'm less mad about that than the process as a whole. I mean, Alabama beat Georgia. That is the best win of the year. That's the best win in the last 2.5 years. So I understand that. Well,
I'm not going to go that far.
Well, Georgia's lost the game in 2.5 years.
This year are still more impressive. One of them is Michigan over Ohio State. The other is Washington supplanting Oregon the second time, where all you fools, me included, thought that Oregon was going to win the day in the rematch in the final Pac-12 conference championship. And we were all wrong AF. How is Michael Penix once again supplanting all we haters? Not really a hater, but I have to be lumped in there. Supplanting Bo Nix for a second time, who's supposed to be this god to college football because he's played this long. No longer than Holton Ahlers, by the way. But nobody knows that dude's name, by the way, former East Carolina quarterback, if you're wondering. Mm-hmm. How is that not the best win? Because all I heard about all year from all you SEC haters, all you SEC haters, EJ Christian, is how Georgia
I'm a SEC hater. SEC is the best conference in football. I was knowledge that. That's not me. Talk to somebody else to that one.
That you distance yourself from that affiliation. But
no, I've never done that. They've had a down year, but okay, 4 was bad this year. But,
perhaps I should
enter Missouri, into Ole Miss.
Maybe I should save that. Maybe I should save that for tonight when we record Huddle Up with our good friend Big Jim Neese, aka Woke Jim of the Huddle Up podcast, and he can also try to sit on the fence about his SEC hate or admit it thoroughly. I don't know which is going to happen, but the point is it's going to be a lot of fun.
No, SEC is the best conference as it has been for, 30, 40 years now? Like, what are we doing here? Like, come on. FSU filed lawsuit. Which I don't know why they're doing that. What kind of case? I am all about FSU, this and that, and defending this and that, and being pissed about that.
You want to know what's the
stupidest
thing about that, EJ Christian?
What's that?
By the time the investigation's over, this is going to be so far in the rear view.
That's what I'm saying. Waste of time. What I think is more effective, I think, if look, I don't know if you can boycott the games, because boycotting, I think there'd be lawsuits there also too, having players show up. But I do think if you're a top player on that roster that's going to get drafted next year, or expect to get drafted next year, I don't play the game. I don't care if it's Georgia. I don't play the game. What's the point? You're telling me games
How
don't
is that
matter.
any different from bowl games now?
Right,
Also,
but even more so now.
Players don't play.
But even more so now. This would be the biggest bowl game not being the Big Four. Of the Big Four. I would not play this game at all.
I'm not saying the spirit of your boycott is the problem. I see what you're attempting to do. And this time, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it might have meant something. What's going to happen is those players are going to not play in the game. Everybody's going to assume it's for their NFL prospects. They'll say it's a boycott, and all the people who aren't you and I that might have a little sympathy for the kids are just going to basically come back with a cry harder.
And even Georgia, look, it is what it is with Georgia, but even they have a little bit of a gripe also too with this situation. Lesser than gripe because of the red stuff.
No, they don't.
But
no, they don't. Though
I was saying weeks ago before.
You know what the gripe is, EJ Christian? Everyone else is catching up. The NIL and the transfer portal. You want to know what the issue is? They're fucking working. The playing field is more competitive than it ever has been.
Which I love. Which is why you have a lot of mediocrity now and a lot of parity now in college football. Like it's starting to.
I'm not going to say mediocrity. That's not fair.
Well, I mean,
there's definitely a lot of parity.
Well, if you're saying Louisville sucks and Iowa sucks.
Well, no, that's mediocrity in the conference. You better. Here's what's so it's funny you mentioned that. Here's what happens when a weaker entity is broken up and is injected into a stronger one. One of two things happen. They get better, or they continue to be fed upon until they get better or cease to be.
Right.
And they damn sure are in a place where they'll help determining a fate of a weak team as well.
So which matchup here intrigues you the most of the playoff?
You know, it's excuse me. For me, it's most unfortunate that we're probably not going to see. I shouldn't say that we're not going to see. The one I'm looking forward is, should Texas win, them playing Michigan, should they win? But that ain't a gimme either.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, as a Jim Harbaugh guy, his record of late in these big games, not great, Bob.
Nope.
And I'll say this, when he being Jim Harbaugh and Nick Saban were in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl, which I believe is their most recent pairing, Michigan was actually leading at the half, or was leading right up until halftime, like something like that, for at least a quarter and a half. Then the size advantage for Alabama just basically took the bleep over. However, Michigan has since eliminated that problem. Hashtag NIL transfer portal, right? Yeah. I'm going to be very fascinated to see that football game as well. These these semifinal and final games have the potential to be a lot of fun to watch, and you should be all for it.
Yeah,
I'm team getting left out. I agree. Not great, Bob, but when you play in either a G5 conference where the schedule is determined to be weaker, and perhaps the strength of your schedule was impacted by hurricanes, a la UCF, or you just play a bunch of sucky teams and barely beat them, like Boston College 30-29. That's even worse than needing 3 overtimes to beat Pitt. EJ Christian, see what I did there?
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm actually intrigued by Texas and Washington, to be honest with you. That's going to be a fun game, I think.
And rightly so.
It's going to be a fun game.
See what I did there?
Washington, what they've done. Yeah, what they've done, Washington, honestly, the last 2 months, that we discussed in the podcast back in October.
By the way, EJ Christian,
go ahead.
There was some very handsome human being who had said in August, in the event that Caleb Williams collapses, look out for Michael Penix.
Well, I mean, I'm handsome, but
it wasn't you, motherfucker.
Is it someone that good here?
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
You did. Yes, that we have a lot of time to discuss, all the bowl games coming up, which we'll see. I may watch them, we'll see. I'm not a big bowl guy like I used to be growing up.
Yeah, there are some intriguing ones, and while I'm planning to cover them, the Orlando ones are not among them.
I'm not I'm actually
the one I forget which bowl it is, but the bowl that features Notre Dame and Oregon State, that's going to be a fun game. I really like that.
They announced the Heisman next week, right? The Heisman or this week?
Sorry,
the Heisman is being announced what, next week or the week after?
You're putting me on the spot. I haven't looked.
Okay, I'll look in a second. But they announced last call before we get out to the NFL. They announced the finalists. Obviously, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels at LSU, and of course, Marvin Harris Jr. from Ohio State.
I have no idea why Jaden Daniels is in there at this point, but that's just me.
The numbers. That's all it is. I get it. I'm with you. I'm.
So for me, Daniels is obviously fourth. If I had a Heisman vote and I'm putting in my top three, it would go in this order: Penix, Harrison Jr., and Bo Nix.
Penix, Harrison Jr., and Bo Nix. Okay.
I don't have a Heisman vote. My good friend of the Orlando Sentinel, Matt Murschel, who's a national college football writer and covers UCF for the Orlando Sentinel, he has a vote, and he submitted it last week. So it'll be very interesting once that comes out to see where it shook out and what he thought of all of the process.
Curious to see where he goes. Okay.
I might have to bring him on the Student of the Game podcast. Bing!
Bing. That's right. All right, let's get to NFL now. That's actually less heated than I thought it would be.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. The other thing is, some of your stupid takes you've started to shed. Like if you go to EJ Christian's social media, specifically his Twitter account at EJ Christian7, bing, he says some really stupid shit. Check it out if you want to laugh.
Hold on. Like what? Give me one example recently, since it's daily apparently in your eyes.
First of all, the joke's on you. I'm in my 40s. I don't check my Twitter daily. No, that's a lie. I work in media. Of course I check my Twitter daily. What was it? It's people trying to juxtapose Trevor Lawrence to FSU and just sounding stupid. It's pleading that this team never had a chance to show itself when Carnell Williams completely destroyed Wisconsin with his Ohio State team to put his team in a position to make the playoff because they were literally that good instead of this trash that was the alleged ACC championship game. I say alleged because really there was no winner. America was the loser with that football game.
Game.
Yeah, but no one wants to talk about that. And by the way, if you don't like the conference championship example because the second stringer for the FSU team is going to come back, great. Y'all look like ass against Florida too, homie. That's the problem.
Point taken, I guess. All right. Let's get to the NFL. You were there last night.
That's the reason why it was so quiet. I out-debated you again, and you were relegated to take the L.
We're having a conversation, not a debate.
Is that it?
Yes, it's a conversation. I could tell.
So when you lose, it's a conversation. Got it.
Oh, gee, what you're so fucking obsessed with fucking debating, and you sound like a ranting, rather. You
do realize you fell right into the trap. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I know. Because of content, of course.
Because content. Listen, accuse him of a lot of things. You can't accuse him of being ugly. You can't accuse him of being a bad host. Horrible analyst, but a great host.
I'm not an analyst. I don't ever. I'm an opinionist, man. I'm gonna put takes out there. And you'll like it. Like, hey, it is what it is. I'll own it. You know.
So you're an opinionist,
such as my Bengals plus 8.5 last night, which I hit on. Good job.
Oh no! Hey, listen. And I said it to you. I said it to you out there in the ether, man. Those 8 points was a quality bet.
Mm-hmm. The Burn actually had it at 10.5 too. He's like, "What the?" I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, that was amazing. If you managed to pull the trigger on that, and again, it before the game started, beating them by 10, I'm like, they still have a great receiver core, as we were reminded.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Also, I'm gonna get to that right now because first let's start the Jaguars first. You were there last night. Trevor Lawrence gets hurt in the loss to the Bengals in overtime last night. 37-34? I think it was 34-31. Right. Yeah. Now the good news is that the injury isn't as serious as they thought it was going to be.
It looked terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really bad on TV. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He has a right high ankle sprain, but all the tests were clean. Now, how long is he out for? We don't know yet. Cedar Beather came in. He looked okay in that one drive to go down inside the game, but I got to tell you, I'm a little worried. He's out 2-3 weeks now. Texans only game behind in the standings. AFC's wildcard picture is getting a little weird now. Colts are a game behind too, also with a record at 7-5. I'm not saying the Jags are in trouble, but depending on how this injury comes back, Christian Kirk's out next week too against the next week's game against the Titans against next week, right?
It's the Browns,
the Browns
in Cleveland next week, followed by
they need that game
Baltimore
too.
Ravens coming to town for a Sunday night football game, which I would imagine if Trevor's not starting, they're going to flex.
The Jazz could fuck around and be in a wild card spot if not careful. This is a little bit of a danger zone here for the Jags, depending on the Lawrence injury. Your thoughts?
First of all, the Jags, the Duval Devout, as I call them, to be in such a position where they've won so many damn games to open the season that, oh my gosh, they might only make the wild card there, is your biggest concern, is a goddamn victory for this franchise. Shall we lead there? Okay? A. B. You mentioned Trevor Lawrence getting injured. Obviously a big deal. And the last time Trevor Lawrence got injured with a high ankle sprain in a short week and was questioned as to whether he would start, EJ Christian, that was called the New Orleans game on Thursday night, where not only did the Jacksonville Jaguars win the game, the leading rusher was Trevor bleeping Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I say all of the above, EJ Christian, to say this. I don't think he's starting against the Browns. A, for as good as the Saints defense were alleged to be at the time, they were not the Browns up front. B, no. Walker Little is hurt. Cam Robinson is hurt. That offensive line is decimated. Thank goodness for their own sake at the trade deadline, they got Ezra Cleveland at guard, but that O-line is atrocious. It's much better to throw CJ Beathard out there to get worked, especially when you're missing Christian Kirk still. By the way, that's the part that isn't getting talked enough about. I know the media is enamored by only the quarterback position, so much so that Tyreek Hill probably won't get his deserved MVP, but I digress. Over and above the list of players that were injured during Monday night's outing. By the way, the first Monday night football game involving the Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval County in almost 12 years.
Crazy,
One
right?
day short of 12 years to the day.
Wow.
Every other NFL franchise has had 8 Monday night football appearances at least. And what should have been a gala and celebration for the Jags to ascend to the number 1 seed of the AFC for the first time since 99 was a worst-case scenario that ended in a MASH unit that included the following. Christian Kirk, whom you mentioned, one of their more, if not the most reliable possession receiver. I mean, you've seen how many drops Calvin Ridley had. I can make an argument for Zay Jones, but it doesn't help my segment. Trey Herndon, a corner who's a pretty important part of their offense. He's out. The guy that got burned, Tyson Campbell, just got back from injury. No disrespect. Jamar Chase of the Bengals is really good at football, but bruh, I know what he had for breakfast this morning, and I'm not saying it had anything to do with bread. Moving on. Fularonsu Fatukasi, a guy that nobody knows about, but is a run stuffer extraordinaire up front for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody's heard of Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a defensive player candidate. I get it. But Fularonsu Fatukasi is the reason why they're able to stop the Jonathan Taylors and Derrick Henrys. He's probably out next week. I could be wrong there. Then also their top safety, who for a while was leading the NFL, Andre Sisco. That's 5 starter caliber players.
So you're saying they're in trouble?
For next week, at least, yes.
Because they're 8-4 right now currently. But again, you got the Colts 1 game behind, you got Texans 1 game behind, and you got a big against the Browns next week. If the Browns win that game, they're actually tied with the Jaguars. Not the same division, obviously, but it gets a little tricky with the wild positioning depending on what happens in the rest of the division, the rest of the week. So just saying, I have the Jags win the division still. I think they'll still figure it out as long as Lawrence is healthy within the next 2 weeks. But this can get a little tricky in the next week to come. So
no, and they're going to have to earn it. I mean, here's the punchline, EJ Christian. For all the dread and worry consuming the Duval Devout in their playoff chances and all of that, here's my whole thing. We mentioned that the rest of the tour of the AFC North, which started with the Bengals on Monday, rounds out after December 17th, hosting the Ravens. The remaining schedule is Bucks, Panthers, Titans.
Yeah.
They may just be
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now for listeners here on the podcast on the rest of the schedule.
Unfortunately, I'm a professional, and I brought it up with having to tell everybody about it.
Oh, no. I know.
That's why I'm a better analyst than you are.
Okay, because again, you are an analyst. I'm not.
I mean, we could have the argument about who's a better host, but see, I'm not as handsome as you, so I'm going to lose every time.
There you go. No, so yeah, so Browns next week, Ravens at home, Bucks on the road. Bucks are kind of frisky, but they should win that game. Carolina, of course, the garbage is shit, and then the Titans. Divisional game's always weird, but yes, the Jags. Look, they're gonna bake in wins this year to offset that. I'm just saying that the injury, if he's out multiple weeks, then it gets a little tricky. But it should be.
If Trevor's out 2 weeks, I'm taking the first or second seed off the board. That's what I'll say.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If he's out more than 2 weeks, it might be a problem. But what I'm here to tell you, EJ Christian, is CJ Beathard is good enough to lead them through to go 3-0 to finish the season.
I thought he was fine. I thought he was fine last night and that one those 2 drives. I didn't move the ball okay.
Well, I could make the argument he did enough to win the game. It was just an unfortunate holding penalty.
Yes.
Which people are questioning it. Me, I wouldn't have flagged him for a hold, but for rather a trip, because on the way out, inadvertent or not, Anton Harrison did trip the guy who was blocking, who went out to go try to make the tackle. And I would not have called holding. I would have called tripping. So
am I wrong for thinking, though?
Probably.
Yeah, always. Shut up. Asshole. No, we're also thinking, though, the Bengals last night. And for the record, I've been saying this. I've thought Jake Brown has looked actually serviceable from the moment Burrow got hurt. Even that Ravens game when they were down big against the Ravens, I thought he looked okay in that game. I thought in the Steelers game, he looked, considering the Steelers defense, he looked okay. That's just win that game. And then last night against a quality defense, he had a fantastic game last night. Other couple of weird false starts in that one drive, late in the game.
The self-imposed wounds were numerous. There were a number of them for Cincinnati. There were more, and then more crucial ones as well, that the Jags committed. So yeah,
we're gonna go. Well, you know what? We'll say this. Well, let's bring it up now. Fucking bring it up now. Bengals, since we're on the topic of the Jaguars, Bengals last night. Because we'll look at the playoff picture in a second too. But the Bengals got. After what I saw last night too, and what I've seen the last couple of weeks from Browning, I'm not so strong to count them out yet for the wild card.
The schedule is still awful. I would personally give them about a 25% chance.
And it's right there on the screen, guys. So you guys on YouTube. Next couple games, tough Colts team here. There you go. That's a must-win, obviously, for the Bengals. The Vikings, yeah, that's a tough schedule. Every team is a winning record or better.
The Vikings don't count, and you know it. Stop it. Let the Vikings go. You got that one wrong.
Still a tough game.
Shut up.
Steelers on the road. You know how those games go. AFC North, optics. Chiefs. Yep. Yeah. If Joe Burrow's your quarterback is one thing, man, but I will say this much: he's done enough to at least keep me intrigued. That you know what, I won't bury him just yet. Let's see what they can do.
Listen, credit to the Bengals. I thought it was almost laughable early on that they came out throwing a bunch of screens to try to move the football. And then what they did is they spread the defensive front out and the defensive looks out so that then they could run the ball with Joe Mixon. They did a lot of damage. Then when Fatukasi went out, they were just able to run wild. Frankly, I have no idea what Zach Taylor and company were thinking of with that Taj Boyd trick pass. There's a reason why Josh Allen got that interception because it was not a good plan. And think if the Jags didn't have that, would it even be this close? But I would argue that cancels out the missed field goal by Brandon McManus.
Right. Tough schedule ahead for the Bengals. I will still put it a no, but I'm not ready to bury them as yet. Give me 2 more weeks, the next 2 weeks with Browning. And if they can win these 2 games.
Even if they go 2-0 against the Colts and Vikings, I mean, bruh. There's still a lot of there still there.
Yeah. I mean, Steelers have quarterback issues and now with Trubisky's quarterback now. KC's not, KC's, they're a beatable team. They're not unbeatable. So I'll just say this much. In the case of the Bengals, I'll say this much. I'm not going to bury them just yet. I'll say that's
fine. That's a perfectly valid take. It's not even fence sitting. It's kind of lukewarm, but it's not fence sitting.
But that being said, must win every week going forward, though. That being said, that's not even a conversation. Don't even argue it.
Yes, it is a conversation about how dumb you are calling everything a must win. You probably call this Monday night game a must win for them too.
Well, considering the fact that no wild card and because that the market was small,
Took it
yeah, why not?
seriously.
Well, I mean, we're 5 weeks still in the year. Come on now. Anyway, what did we learn from the Niners-Eagles game on Sunday? Wow.
You know, first of all, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I did not get great utility from watching the absolute ass whooping that took place. Eagles fans have been out and about acting like losing a quarterbacks to the point where you're starting a running back or playing a running back, I should say, at the position doesn't impact them. And by the way, they didn't blow the game open until the fourth quarter.
Correct.
All right. So let's not act like the Eagles were the outright superior team that day. But then Philly fans had to run their mouth like Philly fans do. They probably got a little bit of hubris from beating your Cowboys and all of it.
Not a Cowboys fan. Go ahead.
But the only thing we really Chiefs fan, my bad. The only thing we really learned is that anybody who talked about John Lynch being fired as a GM, looking at you, Nick Wright, be it because of the Trey Lance scenario or any of that, was made a fool once again. You know what we officially learned, Ernest E.J. Christian? You know what we learned, Ernest Julius Christian? That acquiring Chase Young was a damn good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that the Eagles went on to fill the gap with a running back out of Indianapolis, right? Shaq Darius Leonard, right? They're like, the Niners retooled, and they found a weakness where we're short on our linebackers. Maybe we should do the same thing. Now, how much does it mean? Precisely squat. Because you and I both know there's a high likelihood these teams rematch in the conference championship game to where it could have been 1 point, it could have been 1 million points. It just won't matter. And it'll still be a quality game for America. It'll be a more competitive one, I'll say at the very least.
This is where it matters. Standings. That's it. Standings.
Yeah, the likelihood that game's in Santa Cruz matters. It won't be at the Link, theoretically.
Because now if Dallas wins this week against Philadelphia, all of a sudden now, conference record comes
only a Cowboys fan would think that.
Again, not a Cowboys fan for the listeners. You sound full buster me here. Don't do that.
Sorry, not that
No. But they are the better team right now.
I've heard the argument
that way last year.
They're the best team, and the only reason I'll entertain that is because Trent Williams is still healthy.
Right, as long as they're healthy.
No. As long as he's healthy.
Well, especially him. But especially him saying. Debo helps, bro. Debo helps. We saw. Listen. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong or that he didn't have a big game against the Eagles. I'm telling you that happened because it was his turn. Go check how many games he's actually played versus how many he's been in the league with the 49ers. Not as staggering as you. Not great, Bob. That's really the overall thing. By the way, I made a request earlier from an outside support. This was for you for the conference championship so you could cry harder. It's a tissue box for those that are listening to the podcast. I hate you so much.
Why
should I feel bad about my team going 13-0 and feel bad about that?
Because you should feel bad about the ACC and you should be celebrating.
Fuck conferences.
You should be celebrating their efforts to get out of it. And that's the point I made, or I should say, I'm about to make on Wednesday with the pre-record I did with my good friend Andrew Glukov of the Sons of UCF and former student of the game panelist.
Oh, nice.
It's FSU's. The one thing I will applaud FSU for is trying to solve the problem in a way that a blue blood school is capable of doing, right? The UCFs of the world couldn't go to a bank and be like, hey, I would like to borrow some money to get out of this ironclad contract. Well, how much do you need? $100 billion. Okay, UCF can't do that. FSU might. I mean, they got a lot of money to get on the fire, Willie Taggart. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. How concerned should we be about the Chiefs?
Meh.
I'm not surprised I lost to Green Bay, though. I'm not surprised by that game, honestly.
Yeah. Listen, I don't love any team that's losing to Jordan. See what I did there? But considering, here's the thing. You know who Admiral Akbar is, and I believe he was in the stands because you know who the Chiefs were looking forward to. Who do they play this week, Ernest, Julius Christian?
Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. And regardless of how well or not the Bills are doing this year, there's history there.
Yeah.
Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is circling the calendar to battle Josh Allen, who we do not use his middle name. I don't think I should have to explain that. If you looked past Jordan, I don't love it, but I expect it. See what I did there?
Yeah, good job, you talented motherfucker. You know what? I'm not concerned, but I'm concerned. Like they're going to be there. Hang on, they're going to be.
As illiterate as that sounds, that's a perfect way to.
I'm concerned in terms of like they're not. The offense looks kind of. Defense looks great,
no, their offense does look meh. In that particular game, so too did their defense. That's why they lost. You know, another team that struggles when that happens, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next question.
But the AFC feels so wide open that cool. I mean, well, I'm not saying like every like 7, 8 teams win the.
Actually, let me stop you there. When you say so wide open, I think the NFC, because it's so goddamn bad. The AFC is wide open because that is a proper addition, in my opinion, of what parity should look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm just saying on any given Sunday, Miami could beat any of the top teams in the AFC. Any given Sunday. Right. Any given Sunday, Baltimore could beat KC. I'm just saying, KC, look, if you ask me in a nutshell, who do I feel will be in Super Bowl 58 this year and represent the AFC? Like, gun to my head, I'm going to go Chiefs.
You're going to say gun to my head, and
bingo.
Travis Michael Kelce,
bingo.
And rightly so.
Right, but gun to my head. But it's not like they're the overwhelming favorites. I'm saying like in past years.
Well, then let's continue with the thought experiment. I'll take the Chiefs off the board for you. Who do you have at number 2? Who do you have at number 2? I have a gun to your head, EJ Christian.
No, if you tell me Lamar Jackson's healthy, give me Baltimore.
So guess what? I was expecting you to say Lamar Demetrius Jackson.
Right.
I don't blame you.
However, if Joe Burrow is healthy, it's the Bengals.
No one brought up Joe Burrow.
Right, but Joe Burrow's gone, so we can't use that. So, but
and I didn't hear you say Jake Browning either. So there's that.
No, there's that. Right, exactly. But yeah, so that's why I'm not overly. I'm concerned, but I'm not. Yeah, but there's no runaways in the AFC right now. No one's running away to the conference either. So let's calm down there.
Well, then that's the parity piece I'm telling you about. Dang it.
Yeah, Jordan Love though looks like a completely different quarterback last 2 weeks.
I have to be honest, and this is the same problem I'm currently having with the Broncos overall.
Mm-hmm.
I actually paid a bit of attention to the game this week with the Broncos. The most attention I paid to the Broncos in some time. Bro, that game was stupid close, right? Like, Texan fans will nitpick, it was only close because this or that. But let's be clear. Russell Carrington Wilson was not expected to compete with C.J. Stroud in that fashion. And yet here we are.
Yeah.
Right? Credit to Sean Payton for having listened to all that hate. Oh, he says some mean things about Nathaniel Hackett. Doesn't mean he's wrong. I talk all sorts of trash on EJ Christian on a regular basis. Doesn't mean I'm wrong.
It means I'm right most of the time still, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway.
Now, I mentioned Jordan Love, though. I didn't say anything about Russell Wilson, though.
No, I know you didn't. And that's, well, and I set the table to say, I haven't watched enough to give you a good answer with the Packers yet. Honestly, look on that schedule and tell me something. I'm like, whoo, Packers, man. I'm going to watch this bumpy. You know, what, but instead now I'm like Captain America. I'll put it on the list. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, though. All of a sudden, this NFC wildcard picture has gotten quite nuts in the last 2 weeks. Things have changed. No, dude, I was.
We expected it, but you're still not able to handle the fact it won't involve the Vikings.
No, dude, quiet as kept. I said in the show 3 weeks ago. I was right, but we did a lock last time. Did locks.
The first time we did locks, which was
we said 7 teams. That's it.
Was over.
7 teams gone, done. I can't do it anymore. I can't do that.
You shouldn't do that with less than half the season over, but sure.
But some of the teams at the bottom have risen again last couple of weeks now.
Well, it's because of all the must-win games they put under their belt.
You damn right. Must wins matter. You know what I'm saying? With the locks in a second. Well, you know what? Let's do locks now. Fuck it. Let's do it now. I got it set up here. Because this wild card picture,
it's nutty. Listen, I talk trash, but it's absolutely right. It's crazy.
You want to do NFC first or AFC first?
I feel like we always do the inferior conference first, so let's do the NFC first.
Because I'll be honest with you, the NFC is on level in terms of like interest now because of the fact that the bottom has gotten weird.
The tide has risen, is what you're trying to say.
Correct. So 1 Eagles for now. This can drastically change in a couple of days if the Cowboys win. That puts 3 teams at 10-3. Happy like if San Fran beats Seattle, which they should. 2 Niners, 3 Lions, 4 Falcons.
God, that's such a fucking crime.
Tell me about it. 5 Cowboys right now, but that could change. 6 Vikings, 7 Packers. You know,
that is weird.
I got made fun of on Thursday by Big Jim, Woke Jim, about, Seattle, not a must win. Well, guess what, Jim? If the playoffs start today, Seattle's gone.
That doesn't make it a must win, EJ Christian.
You got to win your games, buddy. Well,
but it doesn't make it a must win.
But here's my argument, Kyle, for that. Number 8 is who? Right there.
The Rams?
If they end up tied, Rams get in because Seattle lost both games to the Rams.
That's adorable. I don't see what that has to do with the Packers. Moreover, like, you're talking about a division game. That's a separate conversation.
The Rams are ahead of Seattle right now. And I mentioned Jordan Love and the Packers for one reason. Their schedule is cake moving forward. Now, they got to get the job done, but their schedule, I'm going to bring it up right now, is they can hypothetically run the table. Hypothetically. And I'm being dead serious. I say this. I don't know if you know the next 5 games off the record. I'm going to bring.
Well, I mean, I know how you feel about your Giants.
That's next. Well,
then the Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, and Bears. It is relatively cakeish because the NFC North is, in fact, the second worst division in football. The Bucks game, even though they're hosting, isn't a gimme. Mm-hmm. The Panthers, cool. The Vikings isn't a gimme.
That's the toughest one of the 5.
Well, because it's a division game.
Right.
Now, granted, Kirk Cousins isn't playing, so as a primetime game, it shouldn't be a factor. But the last time Josh Dobbs was on primetime, boy, that went badly too. So I see where you're going. And as hard as it is for me to say out loud that the Packers will conclude an 8-game winning streak,
I don't see it either.
But that's fine. If they win 7 of 8, meaning they win 4 games from where they are, they're a fucking 10-win team. Who had that on the bingo card?
Nobody. Not me. Not you. Don't think about it.
Listen, I am not above admitting I did not have that ish.
And that's what I'm saying. I think this situation here with the NFC wildcard picture now, it's crazy.
I didn't think we expected the Vikings to come out this week, nor did I think we expected Kirk Cousins to be out at this juncture.
Right.
Nor did we expect the Packers to beat the freaking Chiefs. What? Yeah. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not surprised at the result, honestly. Lambeau
other surprising things. Oh, well, no. Okay. They split with the Lions. That's not completely outlandish. I'll step back on that. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the year, no one would have had them beating the Chargers, but then we forgot that Brandon Staley is that, or rather, we're shown to realize that Brandon Staley was that bad a coach. Yeah. One win can make a difference, and the Chiefs are that win.
The only locks NFC I have right now, here are my current locks on the NFC. I'm locking San Fran as the NFC West winner. That's easy. I'm locking NFC North winners and Lions.
Like, they still got to play each other. That being said, I'm with you.
NFC West?
I will lock. Excuse me. I will lock on the condition that Trent Williams remains healthy for the next 5 football games.
Brother, the Niners have a 3-game lead over the Seahawks right now, currently in the division, with 5 to go.
Okay, how many games straight did they lose when Trent Williams got hurt?
Well, we're going to assume
how many games straight?
3 games in a row. We're going to assume he's healthy. Okay. He's
okay. Then yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. NFC West locking him up. Philly's ready in the playoffs. It doesn't even matter. It's a matter of whether they lock him in the East or not. Detroit.
No, I'm not sure I want to lock him in.
Yeah. No, they actually did clinch though officially. Detroit locked the North still. They're winning North. No doubt about that. South, fuck that shit. I'm staying with that thing. Obviously, Eagles are locked right in the playoffs. That's a lock there. Dallas will be a lock to the playoffs. The question will be which one, wild card or East winners. That's it. I'm unlocking Minnesota. I'm unlocking, Minnesota. Obviously, I haven't unlocked Seattle now because I don't know the picture. So
I'm unlocking because I'm a fence sitter.
Well, on who?
You're unlocking.
I have to unlock Minnesota. Dude, they're now in the
fact that you're saying unlocking is just a further action of fence sitting. What you mean to say is, I'm going to take the L. I was wrong about the Vikings. Kyle tried to warn me, but I wouldn't listen.
So that's a question. You know, I lock them right now. If they playoffs by week 18, do I claim it again?
Well, if you had any bravery, you would be like, they're still going to win. I'm not scared. I'm sticking to my pick because I'm not a punk. Beep.
Yeah, I won't lock anybody, but here's what I'll say. I'm in on the Packers making playoffs. Based on that schedule, I'm in on that.
I can't diss that.
Okay. Everybody else, Seattle's their schedule is tough going forward. Minnesota, let's see if Dallas rebounds this week.
I'll tell you, buddy, that Cowboys game, not for nothing, dude. You know what that reminded me of? The Cowboys and Seahawks game, though not quite as high a score, was Tony Romo losing to Peyton Manning in a 51-49 game or something like that.
48, yeah.
Well, 48, excuse me. You would know. You're a Cowboys fan. Right. Anyways, so with all
I hate you. I hate you so much, dude.
But you get my point. Like, Gino did his goddamn job.
He sure did. He did. So that's where I'm at on the NFC. Let's go to AFC now. Right now, past Saturday, Miami Dolphins are the 1 seed.
That will not hold.
That will not hold for now. Baltimore, the 2 seed. Chiefs,
I tried
3.
to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
4 Jaguars, 5 Steelers, 6 Colts. My God, 7 Browns. And then, of course, outside looking in, you got the Texans right now, Broncos, Buffalo, Cincy's in the mix now too, especially Chargers, whatever. This is easy for me. I'm going to do it. I'm locking the Dolphins as AFC East champions. Let's stop. They're 3 games into Buffalo. Let's stop playing around.
Whoa. You'll Gilmore Girls. You said that way too fast.
I'm locking the Dolphins as AFC East champions. They're 3 games up in Buffalo. Let's stop the noise now. We're there now, okay?
No, I feel like you've been down on Buffalo for some time. That's on brand. Yeah.
Baltimore, yes, lock them up for the AFC North because I don't trust the Steelers to make up ground at this point. Chiefs, obviously.
Injury status.
Right. AFC West champs, Chiefs, easy as shit. Come on. Jags, I can't. This is where it gets weird. The injury. See, if you didn't get, even if they lost last night, if Lawrence didn't hurt last night,
even with the injuries, again, they would have to have a far more fundamental collapse. If they lose the next 2, you're still convinced 3-0's on the table after that with CJ Beathard.
You know, I'll lock up the Jaguars still to South. This close. Okay. Then wild card. See the Steelers. I locked them last week, and then Pickett got hurt. I'm not saying Pickett's the reason why they'll get in the playoffs, but
what you are saying is it was the reason they missed the playoffs last year was Pickett not playing. So
right. And Trafrisky, yes, I said it. We'll see. Colts 6.
Listen, when it comes to the playoffs, his name's Trubisky, as in they're going to miss it again if he's starting any length of time.
I can't lock any of these.
Try that for a rename, hippie.
I can't lock any of these AFC teams yet. I can't. AFC wildcard teams.
Well, and what's below 7? Because you still have the Browns in at 7, which blows my mind.
Because
that's where the Texans are. Because honestly, the way, the Broncos are bucking. This is insane. Of course, you can't lock any of this up.
Because and honestly, if you ask me who I have most faith in of these 6 teams in the picture, the Texans I do.
I agree. Listen, I dig Uncle Rico doing things with that hot mustache, but bruh. And by the way, Jonathan Taylor's hurt, so there's that.
Oh, all right, so you're locking up in the AFC. You're locking up. You same with me, Dolphins, yes?
Yeah, at this point, I feel like them missing the AFC East would be a huge shock. I agree.
Yeah, 3-game lead. Yeah. Ravens, obviously, North. Yeah?
Yeah, I agree, especially with Trubisky starting.
Yeah, Chiefs 3. I mean, yes, that's
absolutely. Who's gonna do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg. Sorry.
Jaguars force. Yeah.
Listen,
right?
I said they would win the division with 10 wins. I think that'll hold.
Okay, only 2 away. Steelers, Colts, Browns. Where you at in this one? No.
I think the Steelers miss. Let me see. I would have to do a lot more analysis on the schedule that I don't want to waste on your show because we're already in over an hour. But I think the Steelers miss. I think the Colts are a factor.
Do you want to look at some schedules real quick? I'll bring it up real quick.
I mean, we'll be at it for a while because there's like 5 or 6 different teams. What I'm trying to figure out is
All right, Colts remaining 5 games here. Bengals, Steelers. I feel like the Bengals. This is the most one for the Bengals here. They lose again, the Colts are out. I can't consider them.
They're playing each other. Yeah,
this week, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So
somebody's going to get eliminated in that game. EJ Christian, open it up. That, sir, is an actual must-win game.
Bingo. So Bengals, Steelers week after that home, Falcons on the road, Raiders, Texans. Oh boy, Texans and Colts. Oh my God, who would have thought that would come up to the wild card?
I'll say this: we have 3 teams, 2 spots remaining at the bottom there. I think the Texans are one of them.
I agree. I'm scared for the Browns because of the quarterback situation. Flacco looked okay,
but it ain't mattered. Flacco might be an upgrade, homie.
He actually looked okay last year. Looked okay, given him come off the street.
If you're asking me to pick between the Colts and the Browns, today I got the Browns. Who knows? Somebody else might get hurt though.
Steelers,
they're gonna.
You know what? I'm not gonna lock in the Steelers in, but I'm still gonna lean on them because I trust Mikey Tomlin. I still do. I just do.
At this point, because they're on fire and have their starting quarterback, I pick Russell Carrington Wilson and the Broncos ahead of the Steelers is on a trust level.
Wow.
A team, by the way, which you tried to convince me and the Steelers that were a top 10 team last week, but that's okay.
So obviously the AFC, the biggest issue, the biggest like entertainment here is the wild card spot. Obviously, the 4 teams that within the division are going to all win the division. That's not an issue. It's a matter of seedings and all that stuff. But the real fun is in the wild card in the AFC, honestly, and the NFC rather too.
Sure.
So, geez, what a
5
season.
weeks left. We know Jack. That's what I can tell you, buddy.
Fun times, huh? Fun times.
I'll say this: I feel good about the Cowboys. I will lock them in on the NFC side.
Right. All right. So what things got you out here? According to oddsmakers, your 2 MVP leaders right now. Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott 1 and 2 in order. You agree with that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. These are people that look at numbers and watch no games. You know what they remind me of? The College Football Playoff Committee. No, but seriously, Brock Purdy's not even the MVP of his own fucking team. And please tell me how Tyreek Hill isn't more important to any success the Cowboys have had than Dakota Prescott. You know how I know that? Dakota Prescott has a far better defense.
You and I are in the same boat. I don't know if you changed yet. I'm still Tyreek Hill, number 1. When I saw
it's either Christian McCaffrey or it's Tyreek Hill. I'm Tyreek Hill, but I'm pretty sure our good friend, the Burn, Mikey Bernier, who I do the student of the game superlatives with, bing, is going to have Christian McCaffrey still. I could be wrong, but
I had Tyreek Hill also too. What I saw on Sunday too only solidified that. What a game! What a game for Tyreek Hill. I'm not. Look, should it be in the conversation? Whatever.
Dakota, it's not time for Dakota yet. Brock Purdy, in my opinion, should not be in the conversation because Christian McCaffrey's there. And the only reason why Christian McCaffrey, in my mind, is a viable candidate is because he helps in 3 separate elements of the offense, right? He's a significant passing weapon. He is obviously the running back, so he's carrying the ball, and he's important in protection as well. Part of the reason why Brock Purdy's able to do what he does is A, Trent Williams, and B, any other extra protections. Christian McCaffrey is picking that up, and nobody's thinking of that because, again, all these morons in the mainstream media only look at numbers, and it's a horrible crime.
All right. No, and not only that, I think of the quarterbacks, honestly, first off, the one quarterback who should be number 1 is CJ Stroud. If anything, if you're going quarterbacks, MVP, that's number 1 on my list for quarterbacks.
So wait, let's rephrase the question. is the most valuable quarterback in the league
this
CJ
year.
Stroud?
Correct.
Not quite.
Who'd you put?
Lamar Demetrius Jackson is the correct answer.
I don't hate that. I would say that's right in the ballpark.
Keep in mind, you didn't see me vehemently rejecting CJ Stroud.
Right.
Because as weeks pass, I'm more and more convinced that this kid can play. And by the way, this is somebody who was seen as an optimist picking the Texans to win 7.
Yeah. One last thing we got here. I want to touch this. We can do a bigger deep dive this like in the offseason too, but the NFL just put out their the NFL the Pro Football Hall of Fame put out their semifinalists a couple days ago. 25 semifinalists. I don't know if you have the list or you know the list or
the list is still too big for me to try to memorize it.
I'm gonna run down all the finalists and you tell me snapshot. Just don't think about it. Should they get in Hall of Fame this year immediately? Okay.
Are they worthy? Is what I'll say.
I'm trying to find 10 names. I want to find 10 names.
Go
to the final round. Okay, here we go. Eric Allen.
Not yet.
Jared Allen.
Not yet.
Willie Anderson.
Yes.
Okay. Tiki Barber.
Not yet.
Okay. Anquan Bolden.
I'm going to say yes, but there's no way that happens.
Right. Jari Evans.
Yes. Only because he was so essential to what he did for his squad and that quarterback.
London Fletcher.
Ooh. Yes. I think that's 4 yeses so far.
That's 3. That's 4, actually. 3. Dwight Freeney.
Yes.
Okay. You got Antonio Gates.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one. Eddie George.
Slight yes.
You did it.
I'll say this. The reason why I say that is if I hit 11, he's the first one off so far.
Okay. I'll put him to the side for now. Don't put him in yet. Put him to the side real quick. James Harrison.
Yes.
Okay. Ronnie Harrison.
No.
I agree with that 100%. Maybe on the third ballot, but not on the first ballot. Devin Hester. This is interesting. I want to say yes.
The correct answer is yes. His position as a kick returner supplants that.
Yeah.
Before I said I don't think they will, but yes, I don't think he should yet, but the committee, with the state of things such as they are in the lexicon and with that sort of player getting more depth than they ever had before, I think the committee will do it and leave somebody else who's far more deserving, in my opinion.
Right.
But right now, Devin Hester, I'm going to say no. If I only have 9 names, put him on as the 10th.
Oh, we have 3 spots and 11 names left, okay?
All right.
Torrey Holt.
No.
Okay. Andre Johnson. Put him to the side?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Anquan Bolden's and hand it to him.
Well, you did put Anquan in, though.
Did I say no to Anquan?
Yeah, you did say no to Anquan.
Well, I said no. I said I don't think they will, but yes.
But I forget what they're going to do, what you think should happen.
Okay, so I'm taking my yes and putting it on Andre Johnson.
So Andre's yes. Okay, that's 8 names there. Okay. Robert Mathis.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay, now you have 1 spot left.
I know.
And 9 names. Here we go. Julius Peppers.
Take off Jabari Evans, put Julius Peppers in.
Okay, so Peppers in. And who was it? Jabari Evans?
Yeah.
Where is he at? Cool. All right. Cool. All right. Here we go. These are the last 8 here. This will be interesting here. Steve Smith.
No.
Okay. Fred Taylor. Ooh, Fred Taylor.
Not yet. Well,
okay.
Wait. How many do I have left?
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left.
No. How many votes do I have already?
1,
do I have
2,
all
3,
10 up?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 1 more spot left, man.
Fred Taylor.
He's in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 10. You have 10 guys in. So here's the rest of the list here. There's another 8 guys left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 guys left. All right, here we go. Hines Ward.
He'll wait.
Ricky Waters.
He'll definitely. Oh, God. We'll get back to him.
Okay, Reggie Wayne.
He'll wait.
Okay. Oh, you'll hate this one. Vince Wilfork.
He needs to wait, though.
Okay.
He's a great player, but he wasn't the most. If Richard Seymour had to wait that long, so should he.
Okay, 2 more here. Patrick Willis.
Not yet.
Darren Woodson, Dallas Cowboys. Oh, you froze up. Hold on, you froze up. It's your damn internet. Ah, you froze up. Damn it. I think
he can wait.
Okay, hold on. Who can wait? Woodson.
Woodson, yeah.
Okay. All right. So your list. So the Student Games Hall of Fame finalists should be the following.
By the way, this is with no research, folks. This is from the hip.
Right, from the hip son. Willie Anderson. What's that here? Is that Jarvis? No. London Fletcher, Dwight Freeney, Antonio Gates, Marvin Harrison, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Art Mathis, Julius Peppers, and Fred Taylor.
Any pushback from you?
No, I don't actually. No, not at all.
Shocking.
I mean, we can like argue statistics about some guys getting like too early, but
and I already know that anybody who's paying attention will see my bias toward trench warfare in that list.
Yep.
But I'm not limited to that. The Hall of Famers do the same. Should Torrey Holt get ahead of, let's say, a Willie Anderson, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Ricky Waters really should get in. And if he did that again ahead of Willie Anderson, I'm good with that. Yeah.
All right.
But I'll say this. All the pass rushers you named, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, Julius Peppers, all need to be in. Post haste.
Okay. Kyle, plug away.
Honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. That Hall of Fame segment was not the audacious silliness that I thought it would be. Good job by you.
Yeah,
of course, I am Kyle Nash.
Great host
here holding the tissues for EJ Christian, dealing with the college football playoff. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, where if you are UC or an FSU fan, I will also give you digital tissues. The same on Instagram and Threads at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Tissues transferable there as well. Check out my writings with the Jaguar Report, where I had a whole bunch of historical firsts that came with Monday night, albeit it ending on a more dark note for the Duval devout. Check that out on the Jaguar Report fan side of Sports Illustrated. Of course, check out my work with the 3-point conversion. I'm still wearing my clothes from last night. So, yeah, you get to see me wearing the 3-point conversion shirt here on the Earnestly Speaking podcast. Also, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret. They're headed to the Gasparilla Bowl, the football team is. They'll be battling Georgia Tech. I will be there Friday, December 22nd. I will also be covering men's and women's basketball on occasion there as well for UCF. So check that out as well. The Night Shift podcast as well is a part of the package with the Black and Gold Banneret. And my work covering the Orlando Magic with A7BN Sports as well. Check out my podcast, The Student of the Game, at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. My good friend Drew Glukov comes aboard to talk some college football and as well with the NFL. I wasn't able to squeeze an NBA talk this week, but that is what it is.
Okay,
I had to spend too much time printing tissues for people crying about the CFP. And I have to have a conversation with the College Football Playoff Committee themselves about many comments I've made throughout the year. For them to get it right now, I need to own up to that and be a man. Hear about it in my monologue intro at the beginning of that show. Also, a lot to walk through what went wrong on Monday with my friend of Big Cat Country, Travis Holmes, on the Duval Dive podcast. Listen, give props to Travis Holmes. He did the watch along on Monday night solo and did a hell of a job. I checked in a bit from the press box and he held it down. So please, if you can, during Sunday's game, log in to the Pro Sports Fans app, go to the Jaguars fan chat, and you'll see me and Travis doing a lot to watch along during the Cleveland Browns game there in Cleveland, where the Jags will be doing battle there, most likely with C.J. Beathard at quarterback. I believe that's everything. An honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. And hey, listen, you want the first person who I had to help through their pain. I talked on the Mark Moses show with Mark Moses at 1560 AM in Melbourne, the Fan, and he too was crying for your Knowles. But at the end of the day, an honor, joy, and privilege to be involved. But until next time, my friend, class dismissed.
Thank you.